maybe we can talk about Toph.
Toph. Love Toph.
Yeah.
She's the girl version of a beast mode. Like, she's pretty legit. Yeah, I love her. I mean, I love the fact she's blind. So this also teaches that disabilities mean nothing. Like, just because you have a disability just means you have heightened senses of your other. Like, it doesn't mean a thing. You can still do everything as normal as you can. I mean, she goes from earth bending to metal bending.
Yeah.
I mean, she teaches herself that. And she has it in her head, no, I'm going to do this. We're getting out of here.
Yeah.
There's a thing that's really cool. They brought her in, and just the dynamic of her. I don't know, she's like a missing piece. So it's like they needed her in order to, you know, teach Aang and to teach Katara about, okay, it's not all about you, and teach Sokka, like all this, you know, it's like they need another female, but another strong female. So, I mean, to bring her in, and I mean, they found her fighting. So she's this little tiny little thing, but good things come in small packages, and big things come in small packages. And I love her. I think she's great in the fact that she uses the blindness as a strength and not a weakness. And also that shows, you know, kids who maybe they're disabled, like they can't walk, or they are deaf, or they're blind, or they have a learning disability. Like, it shouldn't stop you from pursuing your dreams. You can always find ways around it. But it's also important to note that it's the people you surround yourself with that will help you continue your strengths. And I think that they all do that. They all play up each other's strengths, and they pick up each other's weaknesses. And so I think that's what makes them the dynamic group that they eventually do become and are.
Yeah, Team Avatar.
That's true. Yes, yes.
Maybe we can talk about Aang's journey throughout the four nations. We kind of talked about them going from like the Southern Water Tribe to the Northern Water Tribe. But yeah, maybe we can talk about the other nations of them traveling from the Northern Water Tribe to eventually Ba Sing Se, where the whole like conspiracy happens, where they're trying to warn the Earth King that this comet's coming that'll give the firebenders like unbelievable strength, but also that there's an eclipse coming and that'll kind of render all the Fire Nation powerless. So yeah, maybe we can just talk about the whole Book 2 arc. Book 2 is actually my favorite arc out of the entire series, where like Aang learns earthbending, go to Ba Sing Se, the whole conspiracy and everything. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Book 2? I think the first episode is the Avatar State. That's the episode where Aang tries to master the Avatar State the best way he can. So they go to like that Earth Nation, and like the general's trying to test him in order to like trigger the Avatar State within Aang. Yeah, what are your thoughts on kind of like that first batch of episodes?
Again, I don't think his mental strength was that strong. I think he wanted to be like a one and done. He wanted to be super quick, didn't want to be patient with anything. Again, he's us. He's humans. We don't want anything to wait for. We want it now. I mean, we have so many things. I think his whole issue was mentally preparing himself for it, and that's why he couldn't quite get into it. But once he like took his time, it was better. Yeah,
because I think the problem with the Avatar State was in like the first book, it's usually kind of triggered by emotions, like high emotions, and he's not really able to control it. But at the end of that episode, of the Avatar State episode, is when kind of Avatar Roku tells him that the dangers of being in Avatar State, like, yeah, it'll give you unbelievable strength, but you're also at your most vulnerable if you can't control it, and you can be killed in the Avatar State if you can't control it.
Because he got taken a few times. He got stolen.
yeah, that actually happened in like the first book, where he wasn't necessarily in the Avatar State, but his like spirit
zen.
Was in in the
he
spirit
was in this
world.
like zen
So his body was kind of like very limp and everything, and then Zuko was able to kind of sweep in and take him. But a good thing, his spirit was able to go back into his body. He was able to wake back up, and then
spoiler alert.
This is a spoiler review, so it's all good. If you haven't seen Avatar: Last Airbender at this point, then I don't know, it's on Netflix. Check it out.
Yeah.
I guess before we go into the finale of Book 2, we can talk about the new characters in Book 2, especially Azula, Mai and Ty Lee, Zuko's loving sister.
Well, you need those characters.
Yeah.
But I had a feeling from the very beginning that her henchwomen were not really with her. Like, there's no way. You can already tell they were getting irritated with her when she kept telling them what to do. And she just had one thing in mind. She wasn't open to anything else. She had one thing. She was going to do it, and that was it. And do whatever it took. The other girls, I mean, they had a heart. Yeah. And you see that at the end of Book 3. And I really felt like they did from the beginning, too. Like, I was like, okay, it's the popular girl and her posse. And the posse all always turns their back on the popular mean girl. Always. So they weren't gonna stick. I knew it. And then, of course, throw boys into the mix and they really aren't gonna stick.
Yeah.
Because you have Zuko. Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, you throw boys in the mix and then the mean girl will always get taken away.
Yeah, so exactly.
Especially like cool boys like Zuko and Sokka.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think her vendetta got the better of her and it just consumed her. And that also shows how that can be toxic to you because that's all you think about, that's all you care about. You shut out everything else that is worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can talk about a little bit later with book 3, but with book 2, the whole twist ending of Zuko's arc. And he starts off, at the end of book 1, he loses, and then it's kind of him and Iroh are kind of like off on their own, kind of doing their own thing. Zuko's still motivated to capture the Avatar, but pretty much, his dad's double disowned him. He's kind of brought Azula in the mix to go after the Avatar and everything. So Zuko and Iroh are definitely like on their own. They feel betrayed because at the beginning of book 2, that's when Azula comes into the picture and like, oh yeah, we can go home and everything. And then the prison guard says, okay, we're taking the prisoners home. I was like, wait a minute. So Zuko and Iroh escape and they cut off their ponytails and they're like, okay, we're not going to be affiliated with the Fire Nation anymore.
Fresh.
Yeah, we're going to be like refugees and just try to find safety. And then kind of as book 2 goes on, Zuko realizes like, how terrible the world is. And Iroh's kind of really trying to support him and say like, yeah, you don't need to be pursuing the Avatar. You could just have this new life and be on your own and everything. So he kind of sways more towards the uncle. But then Azula comes back in the picture and says like, no, you can come back home. Father will love you again. And then at the very end of the season, Zuko makes that switch to the dark side again.
That's right. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I remember that.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on Zuko's switch?
I thought he was an idiot. I was like, dude, no, you're just doing that because you're trying to find acceptance. You're trying to fulfill something that you're not going to fulfill. You're trying to be someone that you're not supposed to be. And he knew it. I know he knew it. I know that he was trying to see, okay, is the grass greener on the other side? And he realized, no, it's not. It's not that good. He went to the dark side, went back to the Fire Nation because he wanted to assert his dominance. But once he found out that his sister was more dominant, he's like, let me just be my own person. So I was not happy, but it had to be a part of his story.
Yeah.
So he could decide, oh yeah, I really need to be here for the good side of good versus evil.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't think like his whole switch back to the good side would have been as impactful, because I think originally the writer said he was going to turn to the good side at the end of book 2, but they thought like it would be even better for his arc if he got worse at the end of season 2, and then as book 3 goes on, it's like his kind of redemptive journey.